Okay, it's important to remember that this game has been in the cooker for years, and throughout that time, speculation has been rampant, not just about when it would finally release, but whether it would ever live up to the vision being sold. A lot of the gaming community, myself included, has looked at the sheer scale of what's been promised here, everything from the combat, exploration, the fidelity, particle effects, and incredible destructive environments. I think we all thought there's no way that this can actually be this good. It all looks absurdly polished, almost too perfect. You know, like a tech demo that somehow became playable. But coming from Pearl Abyss, a Korean studio best known for Black Desert Online, an MMO, skepticism has lingered. And yet, as we inch closer and closer to release, that skepticism is beginning to shift. The studio has been ramping up gameplay showcases, and what's even more encouraging is that they're actually being shown on a PS5 Pro now, and that's a massive tick for me. From what I've seen, Crimson Desert is like a high fantasy meets tech mech sandwich. You know, it's like stacked with layers of inspiration from all-time greats like The Witcher, a dash of Zelda, a sprinkle of Street Fighter here and there, and just enough of that Souls-like tension and boss design to keep you sharp. You know, it really is a reminder, isn't it, of what happens when a studio refuses to limit their imagination, even if it risks collapsing under its own vision. And much like a fighting game, the combat seems built around player freedom. There are various playstyles you can merge together, creating the potential for endless chained combos. You can learn and refine your own moveset, adapting to each boss fight and enemy type, which is obviously a welcome level of expression. You're not just going to be locked into a single archetype. It really does look to encourage experimenting, improvising, and evolving as you progress. And then there's the mount system, because yes, mate, you can ride dragons, bears, dinosaurs, and even mechs. I mean, holy shit, come on, it's the kind of feature list that everybody dreams up as a 12-year-old. Yet somehow Pearl Abyss has turned it into stunning gameplay. Visually, it's breathtaking, isn't it? Even through compressed YouTube footage, you can still appreciate just how much detail has gone into this world. The water physics alone, that ripple, that natural ebb and flow, it's lush. And honestly, water has always been a telltale sign for me of how grounded a game simulation really is. The particle effects, spell visuals are another highlight, of course, a proper feast for the eyes. And particles aren't cheap either, they're one of the most CPU-intensive components to render, but Pearl Abyss in-house black space engine seems to chew through them with ease, all while juggling dynamic NPCs, AI, physics, simulations, all that real-time lighting. The runtime ray tracing and global illumination really do look genuinely impressive. It doesn't feel static, it breathes, and that gives the world a sense of life that can't really be faked. I just hope it's optimized, which we'll get into later. It really is just hard not to get swept up in it, in that raw, almost reckless pursuit of beauty. You can tell Pearl Abyss is reaching, and maybe that's what's been missing in so many modern RPGs, it's all just too safe. Switching gears to what we've seen from the presentation and the voice acting, I think it sounds solid. Cliff, our protagonist, comes across as this gruff, weary, Scottish brute, and for me that's perfectly on brand with the tone they're aiming for, I guess. Now, I would have liked a custom character, of course, but I don't know, who wouldn't, you know? Also, shout out to the small details. I mean, look, you can feel the weight in his footsteps. The way his armour clinks, the drag of his weapons, all those subtle animation cues that really make a character feel human, feel heavy, and add to the immersion. And the creature design is just as stunning. The golden star dragon, for example, perched on the edge of a castle, its mechanical core exposed beneath the surface. You can literally see the motorized skeleton whirring beneath that golden frame. You know, it's such a small thing, but It's details like this which push the presentation from impressive to memorable to me. And sure, look, some of the camera angles during this fight feel a little intrusive at times. It's chaotic, and with all the environmental destruction, it can be hard to track positioning at times, but look, honestly, with the ambitions set from Pearl Abyss here, I think we can probably forgive some chaotic camera angles from time to time. Because the ambition, and I know I keep going back to it, the ambition of this project, of this game, it's something we rarely see anymore. I do think on release, it's okay to forgive some shortcomings, you know? No doubt as well, with a game that's took this long to make, they'll definitely refine with updates as the game cycle continues. Now look, of course, I'd never really encourage pre-orders. We've all been burned far too many times by studios that overpromised or underdelivered. And while Korea has produced some visually stunning titles, yep, I'm looking at you. They're still relatively new, aren't they, to the AAA single-player scene, especially in such large-scale action RPGs, so caution, always necessary. That said though, the fact that Pearl Abyss is showing this much raw gameplay before launch does give me confidence. It suggests they're proud of what they built, and that's just really encouraging. Crimson Desert isn't trying to be different, it's literally trying to be everything, which is bonkers, and that's what makes it fascinating. It's a game that really wants to redefine what an action RPG can be, all through accumulation of what has been so successful in the past. We mentioned those titles that look to have inspired this game earlier, but all the combat, the traversal, the visuals, the scale, it's all there, or it looks to be, and the last thing they do need to nail, and I guess, we won't find out this for certain until we've played it ourselves, the final piece of that puzzle has to be the narrative weight and emotion. I want a great story, a great adventure that sticks with us. If they can optimize this for PlayStation and consoles and keep it running smoothly, this genuinely might be the true next-gen RPG that we thought we were going to get for the PlayStation 5 and, this generation of consoles. Whether that ambition ends up being too much for one plate, I guess we'll find out come March, won't we? But maybe that's the irony of ambition in games. It's both the thing we celebrate and the thing we fear will let us down. Still though, I think I'm finally going to allow myself to get excited for this one. What about you? Are you buying in to what Pearl Abyss is showing, what they're cooking? Or does it feel too good to be true to you? I'm genuinely curious, so, slam it in the comments, let's chat. For now though, take care out there.